certain drugs that, I mean, if people are investing in you and you are whittling yourself away, injecting.
Another one got caught today. It's all over the papers. Teenager arrested in computer crime scandal. Hacker arrested after bank tampering. Damn kids. They're all alive. But the deal with your three-piece psychology in 1950s techno game haven't take a look behind the eyes of the hacker. Did you ever wonder what made him tick? What forces shaped him? What may have molded him? I am a hacker. Enter my world. Mine is a world that begins with school. I'm smarter than most of the other kids. This crap they teach just bores me. Damn them Achiever. They're all alike. And in junior high or high school, I've listened to teachers explain for the 15th time how to reduce a fraction. I understand it. No, Miss Smith, I didn't show my work, I did it in my head. Damn kid. Probably copied it. They're all alike. I made a discovery today. I found a computer. Wait a second. This is cool. It does what I want it to. If it makes a mistake, it's because I screwed it up. Not because it doesn't like me, or feels threatened by me, or thinks I'm a smartass, or doesn't like teaching and shouldn't be here. Damn kid. All we did is play games. They're all alike. And then it happened. Door opened to a world, rushing through the phone line like a heroine, through an addict's veins. An electronic pulse is sent out, a refuge from the day-to-day incompetences is sought. Word is found. This is it. This is where I belong. I know everyone here, even if I've never met them, never talked to them, and never hear from them again. I know you all. Time at the phone line again. They're all alike. You bet your ass are all alike. We've been spoon-fed baby-footed school when we hunted for steak. The beats of meat that you did let slip through were pre-chewed teasings. We've been dominated by sadists, ignored by the apathetic. The few that had something to teach us found us within pupils, but those few are like drops of water in the desert. This is our world now. The world of the electron and the switch. The beauty of the broad. We make use of a service already existing without paying for what could be dirt cheap if it wasn't run by profiteering gluttons and you call us criminals. We explore and you call us criminals. We seek after knowledge and you call us criminals. We exist without skin and color, without nationality, without religious bias, and still you call us criminals? You build atomic bombs, you wage wars, you murder, you cheat and lie to us and try to make us believe it's for our own good. Yet, we're the criminals? Yes, I am a criminal. My crime is that of curiosity. My crime is that of judging people by what they say and think, not what they look like. My crime is that of outsmarting you, something that you will never forgive me for. I am a hacker, and this is my manifesto. You may stop this individual, but you cannot stop us all. After all, we're all alike.
Alright, welcome to WRnet Sec version 1.4.1 Internet Story Provider. A cool name, right? Basically, I've had a lot of people emailing me stories and whatnot, so I figured I'd throw this all together and call this my last freaking thing and call this done. I'm done with this whole thing. So I can move on to doing other cool things, like I'm going to start doing capture the flags and showing how I show my work on how I get that done and have more, more of a discussion on stuff like that. So I guess it's like this is like a huge drama that's been hitting me for over 20 years, and I'm finally putting it all to the rest and moving forward. This is me moving forward, so let's go next. The dust settles as the dust settles with LVNet. Well, they're ISP net now, but the owner, by the way, it looks like he's going to be sentenced over 127 years in prison from everything that he's convicted to. So his name is definitely tarnished at this point. I don't have anything anymore. All people have to do is all you have to do is go on Reddit and just say something about that ISP, and his name drops down, and it's nothing but fraud beyond that. So I mean, they've always had really bad everything else but freaking customer service, because that's actually the only good thing that they really had was like really did have people that actually cared about trying to help people and stuff. So why does this really affected me so much? That's one major question: is why does it bother me so much? First one is I have the realization that I'll never get what I wanted for so long. And if you heard my original stories and my book and everything that I've done, put together, um, I wanted that partnership. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be that top person. I wanted to be awesome. I wanted to be like, I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to help people out. I want to be people know that I'm there for them, and always someone to call and contact, and the go-to person for what I wanted was being a CISO for that company. That's Chief Information Security Officer. That's what I wanted. That's when I called up Marty in 2020 saying, hey, let me be your CISO. He laughed at me, whatever, dude. But then I also had a realization on how badly Marty really messed up my life. By starting being my financial advisor at the beginning, I never made money in the show and never saved money. I never was able to put in retirement. I basically, because I was working technically for free or under the table, I had no way of investing anything. And that really sucks because I technically wasted my time. And because of that, I've been basically, because of everything that happened, and I had to file for bankruptcy shortly after leaving him and everything. It was just that thing. So, like, I don't know. It's like all these previous talks and everything is just like demonstrated how, like, my previous everything that I've written and everything comes to show on how much he's really that narcissistic kind of person, showing how it was like something, the narcissistic person that, every time you do anything, it's always his way. He never wanted to listen. He never wanted to be a part of my life, saying, even though he was trying to be, in a way, I guess, in some ways. But it always felt like when you fight with him for anything that you wanted or needed, it was like he's always put it on him, and he's always turned things on you. And that's why that's basically everything that lists under the narcissistic rule is basically leads him to a T. Then again, he also has the people that still believe in him and kind of in a way, so ends up being that narcissistic cult leader to follow with it. But here's something that'll always spark me is that there's always one defense that he'll always say, even though everyone could be right, everyone could be talking mad crap about him, he'll always say, you don't know what you're talking about, because that's his way of deflecting his weakness. deflecting his weakness, deflecting everything that's, that he doesn't believe that he's done wrong. And so he's going to deflect that because that's part of this is part of his MO. I mean, you don't have to sit there and freaking, like an example, it's like, you don't have to sit there and say, this person isn't or isn't Marty, but like, this necro thread that I had on Reddit a couple days ago, about a week ago now. And the one way I knew it was him right away was because he said right away, you don't know what you're talking about. He's always said that. He's like, when you say something like that all the time, it's going to spark the memory. It's going to spark, who really talks like this saying you don't know what you're talking about. Especially when you have all this evidence and everything put together. And of course, you make a little joke like, call it a conspiracy because I put it all together, and it's like it's not really a conspiracy, really per se. I was making a joke from it, but a lot of people who read that can actually understand that I was being sarcastic. Anyways, so when you say you don't know what you're talking about, I knew it was him right away because that was something he would say when somebody says something bad about him. And what really set it off was when he went to my website, Vegashackware.com. I check my logs. I'm in cybersecurity mind. I've been doing that for over 20 years. I'm always checking my logs. I want to know if something's happening in the background. Is there a new exploit happening that I need to grab logs on so I can, better defense, make sure things are updated weekly, and sometimes days, who knows what's going on. I'm always catching up on all these POCs that gets dropped every couple days. And because I do all that, it's just, I check my logs, and it's like I checked my logs as soon as I read that, and I noticed the same timestamps and everything happens. It's all coming from LasVegas.net, and that's what really goes. Yeah, that's either Marty or it's somebody that's maybe it's his family member talking about it, but it's most likely him because he's going to try to use big words and whatnot anyway. So he's throwing down these big words mainly because he's in that mode of the way I'm thinking in some ways that he's in that mode of he's been defending himself through the lawyers and courts and whatnot. So he's going to be thinking big words constantly because of that. But, it doesn't really matter anymore. Like he's done. I'm done with him. This is it. I'm never going to get what I want. It's time to move on. So let's go. Next one. So some things that happened within the last year. I've had stories coming up, people stepping forward, sending me emails, sending me voicemails, sending me text messages, proofs, and all this stuff of things happening. So I'm putting them all together, and I'm gonna keep them anonymous as possible. Business names are gonna be held off for protection for them, and business and names. So, all right. So let's start with my first story. My first story is I had an insider employee. Number one, we're gonna call him insider employee 1 or IE1. I had one that reached out to me 2 years ago, which is funny because in some ways, this person was getting really badly verbally abused. He's somewhat being misguarded, gaslit in a few ways, and not treated well because the company's really toxic. And I'll get to that in a little bit here. And what's really funny about this one was, even though this was over 2 years ago, he kind of inspired me to write a story. And then, in some ways, I think it was before he got busted. Before he got busted in December, I had this IE1 actually reached out to me to dip into my old ways. He wanted to give me access to the whole network and wanted me to, see what I can go in, see if I can do some flips and switches on the on their Bitcoining mining, farming and whatever, and see if I can just start siphoning from there. And but it was like, I don't know, man. Essentially, I ended up listening to him, let him rant, and then I don't know. I had a bad feeling about it from the beginning, so I kind of let it off in a way. I don't put him down. Not try not to be that person. If it was me over 20 years ago, I might have said, "Hey, yeah, you're this guy. Let's go ahead and do it." But no. And then Marty gets busted. IE1 tells me wants to do it again. He's being mistreated again. He's like, he wants to give me more information on the book. Then he also, I just lost my job, so it's like he was trying to get me to go through the doors, start using a little bit of social engineering to get me in to where I can just, maybe I can do that whole siphoning again. So, but I was thinking though, if that could have went through the way of social engineering, knowing how Marty thinks, how I think, how Marty thinks he knows how he has a grip on me and my kindness in a way. And how I know he knows that he doesn't know that because he's such a narcissistic person that I would actually exploit his narcissism and twist it on him this time to a point where I would have gone to that whole point where as soon as I got on the doors, I would have laid everything down. I would have been throwing in my back doors everywhere. I would be doing everything I can to see what I can do. But you know what? It's not worth it in the end because I also finally got a job offer at that moment, that same time. So it's like, even though IE1 wanted me to do it, I let him go, let him know that I'm not doing it and all that stuff. And I haven't even talked to him since. So the last time I talked to him was when this next employee actually reached out to me about my book and whatnot. So he didn't know that I wrote the book and released it. And I actually, at this time, I already released the book at the time I lost my job, and second time with IE1 wanted me to come in. So yeah, IE1 was really was trying to get desperate and wanted me to do something and wanted to get out of there. But but that didn't happen. None of that happened. The idea was there, but I thought, and but I just couldn't do it. Especially that time after I knew he was busted in. Like, even if I would have walked in, I don't know how deep it went because at the time, all I known was he got busted by the FBI and he was taken on a federal thing. And it's like, this is federal court. I don't know how deep this goes. Not until I go down further on the thing. So, all right. So, in my next story. So, we're going to call this one Previous Employee 1, which is in about late last year. Basically, how the last time I talked to the other one was IE1, mainly to warn me about PE1. PE1 was a previous employee who actually reached out to me after being gaslit and pressured to lie and commit fraud for them, and that would have serious consequences. After they read my book, they reached out and gave me some insider information, more details about the trial and whatnot. So it's like, and they were, I guess, in some ways, they needed guidance because they became somewhat. Marty messed them up so badly in their head in a way because how toxic Marty can be and how he's everything revolves about him. He's trying to defraud the whole system so he can get away with it, thinking he's going to get away with it. So Marty was throwing everything out. You know, he was like throwing Dario to exploit them. He was using their past history, medical history on them. It's like I understand this person because all this time they were talking to me, and they came to Vegas mainly to rebuild their life. And I've been there. I moved to Oregon to rebuild my life, and that's what I did. And Marty being Marty, being over dramatic, and refusal to attempt to lie, over dramatic over the refusal, and attempted to lie to the federal courts and drag VE1 in, especially into those courts, and early this year. Thankfully, the judge did see past all that and reversed all that. So P1's safe. P1 is not going to have any problems. P1 basically they might get disappeared on because Marty did kidnap somebody, according to the whole court system. Whole court case that happened. He made people disappear apparently. It's a whole weird. It was a whole weird thing going down. So, anyways, I'm glad they're okay now. They're doing fine. They're doing great. They're living their life now. They have a job. They're stable again. So I'm really happy. Happy P1 finally got away. Totally, totally walled up this whole thing. And now to the next one. All right, so about a month ago, had this computer company reached out to me. We're going to call them Computer Company 1. He reached out to me a clarification on their dealing in 2009. In parts, not in my book per se, but it was actually on the Vegashackware.com, where I had a blog going on for working for the criminal. There was a computer company there that actually I did list for a moment, but I removed the listing. And as per requested anyways, and they were supposed to send me some more information, so if they ever do, I'm not counting on it, but if they ever do, I'll end up putting it on this the new post that I have going. But yeah, they had some dealing in 2009. Something happened, something that happened with Ron Cook and Marty, and something, yes, in a way they were trying to kind of destroy the company. So, but after the owner of this company reached out to me, I'm glad they're still doing okay, but they have their side of the story. They used to be a friend of Marty's from high school. Something happened between him, Marty, and Ron Cook in 2009, 2010. So I would love to know more information. Especially when I returned in 2011, there was no information about them. It's like they never existed anymore with Marty. So I would never really found out though, and no one would really ever tell me why. So in a way, this would be shedding the light of what really happened between Computer Company 1 and Connecting Point, Ron Cook, and Marty. That would be freaking cool to know. Alright, so to the next one. I had an insider employee, number 2, on Reddit. They actually read one of my posts and they sent me out information on how it's still a really toxic workplace to work in. Everyone's about as mean as Marty. Everyone's still treating it like it's Stonewall all over again. It's like, yeah, it's pretty bad. So I guess in some ways it still feels like, yeah, I would never recommend working. But moving on, this is my closing. So I attempted with Insider Employee 1 to come back to work off Marty, but I finally break my honor, and get rich, or at least get the money stolen from me per se. But that's all behind me now. I'm not doing that. At the time, I wasn't at the time I wasn't too sure how deep it went, but when I spoke to the previous employee one, I was very glad that I didn't. Very glad to, even at the point that I'm glad Marty even laughed at me when I offered to be a CISO back in 2020. All I could say is karma's a bitch, and I'm glad, and I didn't want to be involved in that train wreck at all. I'm done with that. All this closing up in honor of old friends, you know, that there's like all this closing up in honor of the old friends I've met, the ones who were there for me when I was fighting for my cancer, who we recently lost, and to my mom, and all this to let go. You know, this is all to let go finally of my past, because Marty was part of my big past, and it's time to cut that last tie, and this is it. And from all my previous talks, you know, this is my last one for LBNet. So I'm going to take this as really, really thick as possible. Fuck Marty. Fuck Marty. And I hope he fucking rots in fucking prison. And I hope if he does ever hear this, I hope he hears that so strong that it reminds him how he hurt me so long, for so long. So fuck Marty, and I hope he rots in prison. And so, on that bombshell right there, if you have a story, feel free to email me. I'll be doing a whole blog run up on this, so I'll keep this fully anonymous. It'll be on Vegashackware.com. It'll be labels 1.4.1, you know, the internet story provider. It'll be awesome. And if I have enough stories to put together, maybe it'll be like one like Kevin Mitnick's book, Art of the Deception books. Yeah. So of course, R.I.P. Kevin Mitnick, because he passed away last year to cancer, and that freaking sucks. So, anyways, I bid you very well until the next time. I have a new stuff coming up, and should be fun. Have a good night.